Well, that's the valve timing set on the rear and the front cylinder. So both of them set to 109, as accurate as I can get it with belts. So I've put a yellow mark on the pulley for the front belt, so when I put them back on there's no guesswork, and we of course have the yellow mark here on the belt as well, on the tooth. That lines up with those fellas. And up the top we have a red mark, and then once I take the front belt off, I'll be able to access the rear belt, and I'll put a red mark on the pulley and a red mark on the belt, so there's no guesswork when it finally goes together. So that's all good. All I've got to do now is take one of these 3 screws out of each pulley at a time, put some blue thread lock on, and nip them up as tight as I can, and then they will never move. That's the idea anyway. So another step further. So now I think I've still got an issue with the rear piston contacting the spark plug electrode. After I've removed all of that metal from the pistons, I've still got an issue, so I don't really want to spend more hours removing more metal from both pistons. So I'm going to try and see if I can source some surface discharge electrode spark plugs in these sizes, which might be a bit of a challenge. So a surface electrode discharge, it doesn't have the negative terminal bent up here. There's no bent terminal, and the positive terminal ends pretty much flush with the thread, so the spark is created between the body of the plug, the thread here, and the central positive electrode, which means that you can't set a gap. The gap is already set in the plug. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't expect them to be cheap if I can find them, but that's my easiest solution. Otherwise, I think what I'm going to have to do is get the pistons back out again and take them back to Hamlin's and get them to put to mill a 45-degree chamfer on the sides of the crowns, which is more money, more time, more aggro. So that's my plan, I think. So anyway, all the timing here can come off this, and basically take it right back down to the take the barrels off. I still need to gap the piston rings for the front cylinder, so that's something I can do in the next few days. And then once that's done, and once I've sorted out this spark plug piston issue, I can then build the barrels and the heads up for the final time with gaskets and gasket goo, and torque everything down, and then the heads will remain on. The belts can go back on. I've got a few bits and pieces still for the belts. I need to find some circlips to go onto these. I need to find some bolts to go onto the tensioners, so I can then set the tension properly. I've got to sort out what I'm going to do with the tacho drive. So this is the tacho drive, but I've got the gear on the shaft in there, but I haven't fitted the worm or anything, because I'm not going to have a mechanical tacho, but I need to basically fit the tacho housing and blank it off somehow, which is probably going to be drilling and threading it out and putting a bolt in it, just so we don't get any oil leaks. So I've got to do that, and once I've done all that, I will do a few checks like piston to valve clearance, Haven't checked that yet, but I think it's absolutely miles away, to be honest. Just check the valve to valve clearance. I can do that with the heads on the bench. I don't think there's going to be an issue there at all. There can't be, really. Not with the Desmo gear. There's no float on the valves. You'll never get that situation because everything's held in place and shimmed correctly. I've got to sort out some studs or some bolts for the exhaust headers. It'd be best to do that before I put the frame on. Don't know what I'm going to do ignition wise yet, but don't have to worry about that because that case can come off even when the engine's in the frame. There's no problems with taking that off, but the ignition systems that I've been looking at, I don't know whether I'll get to the point where I'll fit one on this bike before selling it, or it would be nice because I'd like to have a running engine to sell it. But I'm looking at 500 euros or thereabouts for an ignition system, and I haven't got that money left in the budget for this bike unless I sell some more bits, which is just not happening at the moment. It's gone stagnant on selling the stuff that I need to sell and want to sell and don't need for this bike. So yeah, hopefully I can move this on a bit.